Good morning, friends, acquaintances, and anyone else just happens to be listening. Welcome to another edition of the UKOCR podcast. This week, we're having a bit of a throwback. I want to keep up with the topic of adaptive athletes, and me and Ian are always talking on the Swift Half about past episodes and early ones that we weren't as good as what we probably are now. We're not good now, but we definitely weren't as good as what we are now. So I thought, why not publish one of our earlier ones and about an adaptive athlete. So Kate Pearce, if you've listened to it, have a listen again. If you've not listened to it, I hope you enjoy it. Like I say, it was the very, very first one that we ever recorded. Here it is. Have a listen. Let me know what you think.
Welcome to the UKOCR Community Podcast, presented by Obstacle Racing Media. Each episode, we'll be talking to race directors, elite runners, weekend warriors, and frankly, anyone else from the UKOCR scene that will talk to us. Here is your host, Alan, aka Muddy Duck.
Anywhere in Chicken Sound. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad.
Hi everyone. Today I've got Kate Pearce with me, OCR adaptive athlete, I'm going to call her. We'll come to that in a minute. So if you saw them, that's why she's an adaptive athlete. In my book, she's a legend. Tell you the reason why I've actually ran with her in a race that's no longer around, and we're going to come to that in a bit, because for our American audiences, you won't even have heard of the suffering, but it's an amazing race over here. So, hi Kate, how are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
Well, lockdown's here, isn't it, again? So it's a bit strange for us. We can't run. We like us people who run and do all these outdoor things, and we're struggling. But you've got your own running partner in your dogs, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got two running partners, Halo and Leo, who I attach myself to, and that's how I get faster Strava times. But I do put it on there that I'm running with a dog before anyone butchers me.
The dogs are bigger than you. I've seen them. They're bigger than you.
Yeah, it gets them exercised because I've got one that's an ASBO, so he's not allowed off lead. So if he's going to play up, I'll make him work. So, and they love it, and they probably love it more than I do, to be fair.
Are the German Shepherds?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen the pictures, and they're beautiful. So absolutely amazing.
So I'm hoping they're not going to bark. So
there's nothing wrong with them barking. I've got a British bulldog who's sat outside watching me. I'm in my man cave, as you can see from behind. This is where I keep all my running gear, and I work from home a little bit now, so it's a little bit. I've got an office in my man cave, and my dog just sits outside and just listens and sees what's going on. So
yeah.
No, but if the bark, I'm not going to take it out. It's warts and all, this OCR podcast. So, before we get to OCR, what's this mountain biking? Because I mean, show the people again. You have only got one hand, haven't you? Yeah. One hand, but we're mountain biking and we're catching air. Am I right? You're trying to catch air now, aren't you?
Yeah. So far, the only air that I've got is by accident, but because I need to be able to pull back, and what I've got kind of like I can slot in so that I can steer as such. But if I pull back, I come out of it's almost like a glorified step stool, kind of, so that it makes me even. So that's got gaffer tape on it because it's made with a deadlift hook as well. Realise obviously the faster I get, it wasn't gaffer tape to begin with, it was just slotted in, and that was all honky-dory because I was going at slower speeds. And then I went on the red route at Cannock, went a little bit quicker, ended up in the only spiky bush in Cannock, got loads of thorns in my hand, and then realised I couldn't get them out.
Oh, because you got them in your proper hand, and you teeth would have been the trick.
So what I had to do was just grab the handlebars and just kind of, when I got home, had to ring my mum and go, "Mum, I'm coming over. I needed to pick loads of things out of my hand."
That's amazing.
So when you gaffer tape it up, is it gaffer tape to your arm, is it then, or is it just?
And it's gaffer taped. Unfortunately, it's in the van, so I've not even got it with me, but it's gaffer taped on the end of this thing that kind of makes me a little bit longer on my left arm. And yeah, so what I need to do now is, I did try and gaffer tape it the last time I went out. So I think Sunday I went out and tried gaffer taping it to my arm to see if that would keep it in with my top on. But it was just because you've got the sleeve kind of give. So it's not the solution yet, but there is a solution, and I will be jumping. It might not be graceful, and it might be a lot of words, but I'll be jumping.
I've got visions of you booking to Chamonix and going down these downhill mountains that they're, like the big gaps in the road. I've got visions of you flying over these gaps in roads.
If I do, you'll hear me coming, because I swear like a trooper when I ride the bike.
That's good. That's good. So, but that's just one of the things that you've. I mean, I call you an athlete, and you're not just an OCR athlete, because you do lots of other things, aren't you? I mean, I've seen you. We talked a little bit earlier, and you sent me a few details and that about you. I mean, a black belt in karate, is it mixed martial arts? A black belt in mixed martial arts?
Yeah. So, and I competed in it as well. So I've got a few gold medals on that. So.
Oh, I mean that. For someone with two hands must be like so hard to compete, and you take all these things in your stride,
Yeah.
You talked about the deadlift hook that you put on your hand. I mean, what is it? You've deadlifted 100 kilograms?
Yeah. So I got up to 100 kilograms. It wasn't my best form when I did the 100 kilos, but I did it. I lifted it up. Didn't damage my back either, which was quite lucky.
I mean, I'm not sure even if I could lift 100 kilograms, and you're a little slight thing that, with a hook and a hand, and woof, straight up. Yeah. So amazing. So,
it was good fun. It was something that I thought I'd never be able to do. So yeah. And then I started to see the numbers increase. So then I was number chasing.
That's what we do in OCR. That's what running is, though. We're number chasing running, don't we? So what drives you to do these things, and is it the impossible?
Some of it is like testing myself, see what I can do, because I was brought up very much with a two-handed mentality. So my parents were very much like, you can do this, almost treated me like I'd got two hands, and in a way never let me rely on kind of going, oh, I can't do that because I've got one hand. So it almost to me doesn't feel like I've got one hand. So I look at everyone else that like I hang out with or kind of do little bits with, and they can all do it, and I see myself like that. So then I'm like, well, why can't I do that? I'm going to do that. And then obviously you get the flip side of that, and you get the people that go, you can't do that because you've got one hand. So it's kind of like, think I can,
yeah,
and I'll find a way around it. And sometimes that's a bit of the driving force.
But I mean that's amazing that your parents sort of brought you up from that early age, because I see it quite often with my daughter. She does children that are in care because they're not like you. They might have something wrong with them in terms, and their parents tend to I guess mollycoddle them a little bit is probably the best thing I can turn around and say. So I just had to pause it then, Kate, because I lost a little bit of internet connection. I didn't want people to miss out on things. And so I was saying that my daughter, she sees parents that mollycoddle their kids, and yours didn't.
Yeah, mine were very much kind of, they were called a lot of names when I was younger, actually, for being like hard-nosed, but now, like, it's gone the other way. Now I can do all these bits. I mean, sometimes I ring up my mum and dad and say what I've done, and they go, can you just calm down? I'm like, well, you made me like this. Like,
I mean, it's amazing that you've done these things. I mean, I was talking when we introduced you, to me, you are a legend, because there's a race that we both did. I think it was the first time I ever saw you running personally, and it was down at Rockingham. And for you people in the States, it was called the Suffering. It was a 2-day event. We had a 5K race that was more like 5 miles. Am I right?
Yeah.
A 10K race on the same day that was probably 10 miles. And then the following day was the 10-mile race that was probably 20 miles.
Yeah.
Or close to it. And so to become a legend, you had to do all 3. Now, the Suffering was well known for beasting, for press-ups, sit-ups, everything. And I mean, the switchbacks.
Oh my God. There is no switchbacks like it. I don't care who says it. There is none. None at all.
None. I mean, tough guys, tough big switchbacks, but the Suffering was vertical climbing.
Yeah, and then they added, I don't know whether you went, but when they added walls on it as well.
Oh yeah, I remember when they put the walls on, yeah. And then in the 10-miler, you did the normal switchbacks, and then they did the switchbacks near the castle that you carried tyres up and things like that as well, didn't they?
Yeah, because I had a one of them, because obviously the marshals there, they were all there to beast you and there was this one marshal with the tyres, and I forgot to mention, obviously, with being one-handed, I can be a bit of a dick. Like, not in a nasty way, but it's my humour.
Yeah.
And he was saying, right, everyone grab a tyre, grab 2 tyres. And I went, is that one with each hand? He went, yeah, it's one with each hand. I said, I best catch one then, and just dropped. I mean, I did pick up 2 because my friends were carrying 2, so there was no way I was going to just carry 1. But yeah, his face just dropped. And then as we got halfway down the hill, my friend gave me a bit of a clip, like, did you see his face, Kate? Behave. I was like, I couldn't help it. He just walked straight into it.
Oh, so I wish I'd have seen that. That would have been absolutely classic. I like a bit of banter with the marshals, because at the end of the day, the marshals are stood there, and I mean, if it wasn't for the marshals, we wouldn't be able to run, you know. It did a great job. Rain, cold, everything was standing. So I like to have a little bit of banter with them, you know, and that. But that's a classic. I've got to remember.
Yeah.
That's a story to tell my kids. So would you say Suffering is the toughest race you've ever done, or is there something else out there?
No, I think Suffering's toughest for I think all categories for me, because it physically broke me, it mentally broke me at one, because I tried the Relentless,
Right.
And it physically broke me. So that race broke me and built me up all in one kind of race. I think at one point I came over the finish line and they weren't quite sure whether I was laughing or crying. I couldn't even answer. I was like, I'm really not sure whether I'm crying because I'm over the finish line, or whether I'm happy, and I was like, my body just doesn't know what it's doing now. But yeah, I think I never managed to get over the cushion. That's one thing that really wound me up. I couldn't do the cushion, you know, that big inflatable.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Every time I hit it, I just bounced straight back.
I mean, the obstacles they had, they were tough, and they broke many of people. At the time I did the first Suffering, I used to race. So now I'm more of a plodder around, you know, I was a bit younger, and I used to race. And you'll probably remember Sam Cleveland.
Yes,
I remember chasing him on the 10-miler on the Sunday, and he left me standing. He was out there. I think he was in 2nd or 3rd place. I was in about 5th or 6th, and all of a sudden he just blew up from nowhere. You know, the previous days had caught him, and I ended up running just the rest of the race with him. I won't say it spoiled my race, because it actually made my race. It was, and that was one of the first times I actually decided to start running with people, because I thought, I've just run 10, 12 miles with him, and we were chatting all the way around, and it was like, wow, this is a different element to actually going out and running as fast as you can, and you know, it all being up there. It was like brilliant. But yeah, I mean, it broke people. But in America, they'll know some of the racers like Tough Guy, you know, probably some people will say one of the toughest races there is. Some people won't. I think based in winter, it's tough. I think the summer one's very easy. I think the winter one's a lot tougher. But I mean, what's your experience of Tough Guy?
So my experience with it was, I don't kind of, the cold I'm okay with. So I didn't find it, like the first time I did it, ran with a group. I obviously, as probably everyone knows, or everyone knows me, run in like mainly shorts and a t-shirt, sometimes a neoprene vest if it's proper cold. And I ran with my friend, and she'd got that many layers on, yet she dropped with hypothermia, so we had to wait for her. So we missed the water sections on that one. But the second time I did it, we got that, you know, we did all the water sections, and it was actually one of the only races where the cold actually got to me. So I completed it, but I got to the end and got put into a marshal's car to try and warm up, because like I was dithering all over the place. So I think for technically, I don't feel like it's that hard, but like you say, put in the cold, and this was like a really windy day as well. So anything that you kept warm to your body just blew straight past you. So you're just getting stupidly cold, but it was good. It's good, like, to test your mental.
Yeah, very much so. And that, I mean, the cold water section, like you talk about, I mean, I've done it like 6-7 times now, and you go under the first dunk and you come up and you're stuck. There's nowhere to go. You can't get out. And there's 3 more to do. And you're thinking, I can't do 3 more. And then you struggle to the next one, and you 2 more to go. And it's like, very much, it's a mental game.
Yeah.
But what was you signed up for this year?
I wasn't, no. So this year, because obviously everything's kind of gone onto a halt. So I'm just waiting for things to kind of start coming up again, because last year I was supposed to be kind of like going into ultras.
Right.
So last year was supposed to be my ultra year. That seems to have moved to this year a bit. So I'm just trying to work out what on earth's going on with everything before kind of I start signing up. But I was hoping to get to McTuff, because I think that was was it supposed to be their last one?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the last one, but I know there was putting one on this year, weren't there? Because it went ahead last year, and then there was going to put one on this year. But it's getting rave reviews, McTuff. I mean, I'd be surprised if Alex decided to call it a day up there. But I mean, that's a tough race in itself. Have you done that one before?
Yeah. So it's I thought that one was really good. I really enjoyed that, actually, especially trying to pull the car.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And when you go up the hill, you know, it's got its own different microclimate. You know, you go up there and it's, I mean, the first time I've done it twice, and the first time it was like completely covered in fog. You didn't know where you were going.
Well, when I went, I took a picture and you couldn't see anything, and then within minutes you could see clearly. Just like, oh, so this is what Scotland's like, is it?
But how good's the start?
Yeah.
With the pipers and
then you can hear them coming, and you're just like, I don't know. It's almost like, you know, when you hear an ambulance when you're on like the motorway and you can't really move anywhere, and you're like, I know they're coming, and I know by the sounds of it they're coming towards us, like, but where can we go? And they just start walking. I don't know, it was like, I don't know whether it's just the one time they did it, but they started walking like through the crowd and just like, I don't know where to go, but like there's nothing stopping them. So everyone's all of a sudden, like, everyone's getting to the sides. It was brilliant.
I love that. I mean, it's one of the best starts out there. It's like in rugby, it's like I'm the New Zealand hacker coming towards you. You know, and if anyone's never done McTuff, you need to get up there before he does call it a day, because it's absolutely top race. I mean, top race it is.
I hope it can. Maybe I got it wrong, because obviously, but I thought the winter one. I thought it was, but hopefully not, because I like winter races. So.
Like winter races, I think are you the only person? I guess I've never seen another one that's done winter nuts in a bikini.
That was for charity.
No. Winter. I mean, doing winter nuts with one hand is tough anyway. You know, then throw in, and it wasn't just any winter nuts. It was the beast from the east winter the nuts, which was when we had the storm hitting us. It was -1 degrees, and you're there in a bikini. I mean, tell me more about that.
So I signed up for that because I was drinking at the time, and I was on the internet, which is never a good start to any sort of story. And I think there was a group of people doing the Mankini challenge, and I don't think any girls had signed up for it yet. There was a few girls thinking about it. I don't know, but my friend said, "Would you fancy doing this?" So obviously, drunk, I was like, yeah, thinking I was calling a bluff, but if I've said that I'll do something, then I'll stick to my word and do it. So yeah, it turned out that she was serious. So that's how I got kind of like dragged into it. And I thought, and I made the worst mistake. I bought my bikini from eBay, a cheap one, because I thought, oh, I'll never use it again. Like, it'll ruin it because of the mud. Had no elastic in it. Had to like wedge it up and give myself a wedgie. I was like, oh my Lord. Like, it's a good job I'm a slow runner, because anyone behind me would have had nightmares for years.
Oh, I mean, that's amazing. I think I saw you at that one. I think I was doing 2 or 3 laps, and I think I remember coming past you at some time, and I never recognised you because I was focused, because I mean, I was neoprened up. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'd got a merino wool base layer on. I've got the full-on rash vest, the knee-length neoprene shorts and merino sag. I was a complete hat. I think I've got the neoprene hat and gloves on, and I'm like, and I remember coming past you in your bikini and just thinking, what an absolute idiot that is. I mean, I should have noticed, because you know, we with the arms, I should have noticed it was you, and I would have probably turned around and said something. But I was just thinking, no, that is just not sensible. It's just not sensible. So, and how many laps did you do? Was it 1 lap or?
Yeah, it's just 1 full lap. So it was interesting.
That was the year that it was a longer lap as well, wasn't it? Wasn't it about 8.5 kilometers? Because it's normally always 7.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the year you did it, I think it was a little bit longer, more like 8.5. And how long was you out running?
I honestly don't know, because I don't think we were too long, because I had 2 people running with me, because we decided that everyone was going to run at their own pace, because obviously with us all wearing next to nothing, and I've seen that many shaved balls, I never want to see one again. It's ridiculous, especially being 5'4", and all the guys there were quite tall. At one point, you kind of like, there was one guy that was near us, and my head went, I don't, you know, like where you get that PC thing, it's like, well, his ball's hanging out. Do I tell him? But, you know, like, then he knows that I've seen his ball, but then there's also children over there, so I best, like, I feel like it's probably tell him before he's on a register.
Yeah. So the police waiting for him at the gate. Was you running in your mankini? Please put the cuffs on, sir. Now sign this form.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I don't know really how long I was out there for. Because like I said, the first section of it didn't go smoothly, because like I say, the briefs were falling down. So that's when I realised that I had to kind of wedge them. Then I've got a bit of fear of heights of the walls as well. So I got stuck on a wall, daren't move, because I thought I'd got everything showing. And one of the runners with me at that point, and I do apologise for listeners out there, was trying to get me down. They were trying to tell me something, and I was convinced that I'd got my foof out. And I wouldn't move, so I wouldn't like open my legs, because obviously I thought that was all uncovered and I didn't know what to do. I was stuck on this wall, and it turned out that my top had come down. It wasn't the bottom half, it was the top half, and I've never dropped off a wall so quick in my life. A female marshal, bless her, came running over to me to like save some of my dignity, while everyone else found it hilarious.
Nothing phases you. So, I mean, you had a fear of heights, didn't you, as well? So, I mean, I know you tried to overcome that. Did you do Mud 7 when the elements went, and the finish line was the big, huge wall at the elements?
Yeah.
What did you think to that? Because I mean, I won't say I'm cool with heights, but as long as I can touch things, I'm all right with them, you know.
Yeah, it's there was a couple of tall ones from the elements, wasn't there? But it was yeah, because there was one that kind of went up and like almost like that was near the wall.
Yeah.
And then there was the bit over. I did it, but I wasn't like, do you know where you just kind of have to focus on people, and I have to like grab, like I almost like grab things proper, like bear hug it sort of. At least with mainly this arm, I kind of is the bit that kind of finds new bits to perch hold. Well, this one just like grabs like a hook and won't let go until until I found things safe. But yeah, it's yeah, heights aren't my strongest point.
No, they're not mine. I'll be honest with you. You know, I got run up in the Pennines quite a lot with a few friends, and we're on the top of the Pennines, and there's always rocks somewhere. There's a rock formation or something, and these boulders, and they're just like climbing to the top of them, you know, in like 30, 40 mile an hour winds. And I'm hanging on like this, going, no, I'm not moving from here.
Yeah, it's mad. Like I say, I use both my arms to kind of hug, but when I get off the wall, I leave my left, because I'm quite flexible from obviously doing the martial arts, I leave my left leg on so that I can drop further down before, so I don't kind of fall off the wall, because obviously it gives me a little bit more length on my arms as such. And I remember this guy shouting up saying, "You've left your leg." I was like, "No, it's my left hand." And then kind of like, you know, when you kind of think and go, well, actually, no, it is my leg, but I'm using it with my left hand, and he's not, never mind, and kind of just dropped off the wall and ran off.
So when you're going over like things like walls and that, you use your legs more than, you know, such as your left leg especially, to get a lot of purchase and that.
Yeah, so I use that more to kind of when I'm letting myself down. Just because if I go from over the wall to kind of where my arm, that kind of length dropping down,
yeah.
because I'm not holding on with my left arm, because there's a kind of a difference in length, I will just fall because I'm not strong enough to hold my weight just on my left arm and my right arm, forgetting which arm it is now. Not that I've been like this all my life. So yeah, so I use my left leg sort of to help me come further down without falling off the wall completely. So yeah, so I suppose I use them a little bit more to compensate for what I am lacking.
One thing you're not lacking is courage and adaptability. You know, I mean, what you do, like I say, to me is amazing. I mean, we talked about some of the races that you've actually done, and it's a who's of races. Zeus, yeah. Reaper, Ram, Tough Guy, McTuff. I mean, I liked on here, these two races you put on here, which are old school. They're not around now, and they were very much the first type of races that came out back in 2013, I think there was. And it was literally, let's get some hay bales and put them together. And it was Farmageddon, which speaks for itself. And the Twilight Run, which again, yeah, that was your first one. And I mean, they're both really good races. I remember doing both of them. And but they were just, it was very raw and very, the obstacles were more natural rather than man-made, because now we're all into man-made obstacles. Back then it was more natural. So.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I turned up to that one completely unprepared. I had no idea what an obstacle course race was, just that I knew it was muddy and I wanted to do it. So I turned up. I was that person in the kind of like, I think they're yoga pants, are they? So, you know, like completely absorbent to anything. Like they see water over there, they've absorbed it. Like a base layer on and just a cotton t-shirt. They advised you took a head torch, and I was like, oh, I'll be all right. I think I should get around that. And no, I was not all right. I needed the head torch, but I didn't have one. I'd like soaked up all the mud, got back to my vehicle at the end, and I was like, now what do I do?
I mean, that's a great story. I mean, my first race was in enduro, and I was very much similar to that. I'd never done OCR, and didn't even know what it was about. And I was the same. I turned up in, I think, a pair of Adidas sweatpants, short type things, and a pair of road running shoes, you know what I mean? And I was slipping and sliding, but it hooked me. I mean, I'm guessing it did. Twilight was very much for you. It got you hooked on OCR. And
oh god, yeah, it was. I think I was driving home, I was speaking about it. Like, it's bizarre to think, or like, if you don't do OCRs, it's bizarre to think that people pay to go and get muddy and just run around and go under things and over things, but it's brilliant fun. Like, this is what we're missing out on. This is what we need more of.
people just don't get it. But I think there's a misbelief that to do OCR, you've got to be like Ryan Atkins, you know, you've got to be super strong up the top, you've got to have the six pack, you know, you've got to have muscles like He-Man, you know, and you don't, you know.
No, you just need a sense of humour, I think, and a bit of grit about you.
Yeah, that's it. Sense of humour, a bit of grit, and get out and enjoy it. And it's
yeah.
So yeah. So what's been your favourite race then? So out of all the races, and you know, if you don't want to name names, don't name names. But I'm going to put you on the spot. What's been your favourite race that you've ever done?
My favourite race is the Suffering. Because it just pushes, like, it pushed me to, like I say, breaking point, and kind of, well, you're here now, you've got to sort of build yourself back up and, you know, carry on, or see how you can do. Like, I attempted the Relentless, and I think it ended up being 26 miles, and you have to do 26 miles in the 8 hours, and I managed 23 or 22, and I was just so chuffed with that, just because obviously it's the Suffering, and I got that far. You know, I didn't complete it. I didn't complete Relentless. I've got my Legends, I think, twice. But yeah, that's by far has been my favourite race for many reasons. Like, I enjoy your wolf runs as well, and obviously like your more, you know, like Twilight. Thought it was brilliant. I did that and loved it. But sadly, that's no longer around now, is it?
No. Twilight, Farmageddon, and they had another one as well, Avalanche Run.
Yeah.
So they've gone back. Avalanche Run was brilliant, because that was another winter race as well, which was, I used to love that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see why you like the Suffering, because it pushed you to your maximum, and that's what you're about, isn't it? That's you to a T. Push yourself as far as you can go. Yeah. You were talking 2 minutes ago about, so the next plan now is to go to like ultra running.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon? What have you set yourself a goal? Have you?
Well, at the moment, I've entered the rat race ones.
Right.
Just because I'm really good at getting lost. So they're quite good with their markings and everything. So I thought probably best, while I'm kind of venturing, to go for one that's going to hopefully not get me lost, because I'm not very good with the map. So I was signed up for the Tour of Arran.
Oh wow!
Which is a 2-day event. The 30 miles on the Saturday and then 30 miles on the Sunday. Mainly because they just look pretty. They look gorgeous, you know. So that's kind of why I've gone into them. And then a little bit of competitiveness. I knew someone that did the wall, like a close friend, and I also, like, it looks pretty, and I also want to kind of see if I can do it, see if I can kind of push myself that far.
Without looking on the internet, that's about 100 miles the wall, isn't it?
No, it's only 70.
Right. Are you sure? It might be. I thought it was a bit longer, actually, because it was something that's on my agenda. Because I did my first. I've never ever run more than 20 miles. 20 miles has been my maximum for years. And then during lockdown, I've upped my training slightly. So I'm now running, instead of running maybe 20 miles a week, I'm now averaging like 40 and 50. And that was purely so I could do an ultra. So I did. But my idea of an ultra, I caught the train to a place called Edale, which is 25 miles, 26 miles as the crow flies, and decided to run home. That's the way I got my ultra badge. But I'm looking at doing some ultras, so I'm signing up to Rocket. You've done Rocket Race, haven't you?
Yes, because that's David, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I love Rocket Race.
Yeah. So this year he's doing marathon distances.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's doing. So it's laps of his course, but he's made the course longer, and he's doing laps, and you can do marathon distance. So I'm definitely signing up for that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Dirty Weekend's going to come up again, because you can sign up for the double at Dirty Weekend, can't you?
That's one that I'm hoping to sign up for as well, because I've got the season pass. So I was like, let's get your obstacle fix as well.
Exactly. I was speaking to Jim the other day, and he was saying to me, "Well, we don't do many OCRs now." I went, "Don't you?" I says, "What's Dirty Weekend?" He went, "Well, apart from that," and I'm thinking, "Well, it's one of the longest OCRs in the world. Every year you break a world record. Why can you not remember that? You know, that'd be right up there." But yeah, the Rat Race are going more into the ultra market and that. They're doing them abroad now, aren't they? So does your season ticket include abroad ones as well?
No, my season ticket's only kind of the UK. I think it goes into Scotland, but I haven't actually got a passport.
You don't need one for Scotland. Hey, you don't need one for Scotland.
I thought I did now. Yeah, the only time I've been on a plane is to go to McTuff.
Right. What did you fly up?
Yeah, the first time on the plane, and I stood outside the plane, went, my transit's bigger than this. It was tiny, it had propellers and everything. I thought I was going to die.
Oh no, was it like a little Cessna 3-seater or something like that?
I think it had like 17 on there, but it had these two propellers that, oh my Lord, you know, we just like stand outside it going, I had to have a drink before I got on the plane. I was like, that's tiny. My transit's that bigger than that. No.
Was the luggage like you didn't put your luggage on a thing, you carried it on rather than like took it to
I carried it on anyway. I only had like a little bit, but I was like, oh my Lord. And to put it above your head. Oh.
Well, that'd be funny. Did you go up there with was Paul Coxage on that flight? Because didn't he fly up as well?
Yeah, he filmed it and he filmed it. I think there's a film he's going, it's cool, isn't it? I was like, no, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. And nobody told me that when you land a plane, you kind of hit the ground and it bounces a bit. So as soon as it bounced, I hit out and hit the seat in front of me to try and brace myself.
Oh no.
I was like, no one told me to do that. How do you think it's to land? I was like, smoothly, like a car. I don't know.
It's traveling at 300 miles an hour and it's coming down to the ground. It's going to bounce, Kate.
I know that now.
I was on an aeroplane going into Chicago back in '96, I think it was, and there were storms there, and I was in a window seat, and as the plane came into land, it was flying sideways, and I was looking down the runway in the window seat. It was literally sideways coming into land, and then it flipped around straight, and I was like, yes, there was a little poo coming out there, you know. Well,
I can imagine.
Yeah. That was the scariest one I've been on. I've been on quite a few planes, but yeah, that was scary. But I think that was like probably my third or fourth time flying as well, you know, and actually looking down and thinking, we're not going down the runway. I was thinking it was going to land on some grass, and I realized we was traveling down. I was like, no way are we going to land. Oh, and it was nighttime as well. So you could just see, it was the lights that I could see, and yeah. Scary.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we've signed up for Aaron, we've signed up for Wall. What, have we signed up for independent ones, or is it just going to go with Rat Race Ultras?
At the moment, it's just the Rat Race ones. Just because I'm not very good at kind of like finding what's out there. So those ones I know, like I say, I've got the season pass, and then it's seeing if I like it. And then I know there's the Race to the Stones, is it?
Yeah.
Is that 100k?
Without looking, I wouldn't know, but I think it's about that distance. I know they're all between like 60 and 100, aren't they, in miles and.
Yeah, so I think that I've got my eye on that one a little bit, but I'm just, like I say, the Arran is one that I 100% like want to do. That's what I'm kind of like focused on. I'm not 100% sure whether it's going to go on this year. So with obviously it being in Scotland and being in April, so it's a bit.
And what's the training going to be like for it? What are you doing for that distance? Are you doing anything, or are you just going to wing it like you normally do?
Last year I trained quite a bit, and then it got cancelled last minute. So I got a bit of the hump because obviously because normally obviously like most of the races that I do are quite short, or 10Ks, or running with the dogs. So this year I had an issue with my knee, so I'm getting that sorted. But also I'm doing a lot more of the mountain biking, so I'm hoping that my cardio with that helps me as well. But at the moment, I'd be lying if I wasn't going to wing it. So I'm trying to kind of G myself up so that it's less winging it, more a little bit of wing, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to kind of, I really put the arse actually.
50% winging it, 50% training. That's the plan?
Yeah, that's like a nice balance, isn't it? That's
a good balance.
Yeah, I like that balance. So yeah, I know I'm stubborn. So once I've got it in my head, like even if it's not pretty, which to be fair, it never is when I'm running because I go blotchy faced and everything. I look like I'm dying. But yeah, so as long as I can kind of, get on track and get it into my mindset, then fingers crossed, winging it and 50% training. Anyone listening, train, but
train. What about nutrition? Have you been testing nutrition out?
Yes, because I've always struggled with like I'm a rubbish woman. I can't multitask, so I always struggle with eating while I was running. So I've been practicing more with just eating and it sounds really stupid, but eating while I'm walking, kind of making sure I've got a hydro pack on me. What I really like is, because I did a 50k walk the other week with some friends, and I had olives, gherkins and Skittles.
What a mixture.
It worked really well for me. It worked really well. And I love green olives. So yeah, so I got like a pack of green olives and gherkins and tomatoes, and then Skittles and party rings for like the sugary bits. So probably not the healthiest of stuff, but I'm trying to get stuff in there, isn't it?
It's hard to get something in because I'm like you. I can't run and eat at the same time. So I read Jonathan Albon's blog. You know when he did the world's toughest mudder with him and Ryan Atkins, and they did that 100 miles, didn't they, for loads of dosh and cash and that. And he was talking about baby food. So the squirty packs of baby food.
Yeah.
I've been testing that, and I've got to admit I think it's brilliant. So give it a go. Yeah, just let the little squirt, take them on a little squirt in your mouth, and.
Is it not weird? Because I assume it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, it's cold, but it tastes all right. It tastes. Okay. I'm not convincing you, am I?
Olives and Skittles, but I might try it. Like I'll see if they do a vegetable one, and I'll see.
You actually, I don't know which firm it is, but Dave Marshall at Total Sports, he actually sells it by some brand or other, but it's the same thing as baby food, but it comes in quinine and chicken and fancy core menus. So, but yeah, it's different. It works for me. It doesn't always work for everyone, but yeah, I mean, it's one of them things, isn't it? But Skittles. Olives and Skittles, I've got to try that out because that's going to be the ultimate.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's like a posh little kind of. Not that Skittles are posh, but all the olives. Olives and gherkins.
next time I'm Marshall, I might take a pack of olives with me rather than a pack of sweets. Do you want an olive?
Yeah, you'll never get rid of me. Dude.
So it's okay. We're going to end it shortly, but I mean, for anyone out there, you know, I mean, you are an inspiration to a lot of people. I think when they see this, and you know, with you only having one arm and they're moaning about not being able to run, have you got anything to add to anyone? You know, say to anyone to just give them a bit of motivation, or
just give it a go. If you don't think you can do it, you won't know until you try. That's how I attack monkey bars. I'm pretty sure I can't do monkey bars because I've not got the strength in my right arm and I haven't got the technique right. But I don't know that I definitely can't do it until I try and fall off. So then once I've tried and fall off, I know what I've got to work on. And it's the same with anything. Like, you don't know until you've given it a go. And just grit it out. Like, I went down to Rocket. David asked me to go down because I was a little girl, and she was like me, and her attitude was amazing. Like, she just attacked everything, even the height ones, because every time she was like, this is going to be my favorite obstacle, and it was like a high wall thing, and I was like smiling at her, and then she'd turn around, I was like, oh no. Because I've got to give it a go to show her that it's possible. You know, you can get bigger and you can still do it. Like, there's an obstacle. It's like not a drain pipe, a scaffold pole up towards the top, and then you went across. And her dad went, right, watch Kate. Kate's going to do it. I'd never done that kind of obstacle or that rig in my life. And I was like, how am I going to get my ass up this? You know what I mean? I was like, great. And I've obviously got this little girl watching me, kind of, you know, so I can be like, yeah, here's how we do it. For the first couple of steps, or the first kind of shimmies, I didn't move anywhere on that pole. But I was like, I've got to give it a go. I've got to try it. So, sorry, I've digressed. But yeah, it's like, kind of look now.
No, but that's the inspiration that people want, because you do just get out and just do it and just take it all in your stride. When we talked earlier on about the mountain biking, I can see you shortly, you know, there's going to be the GoPro video there, you know, and you're flying down and jumping over the top of it, and I know it's coming, so it's brilliant. So,
yeah, afterwards.
So, Kate, thanks for coming on. Hopefully we can get you back on again later in the year when you've done your ultras, and we can talk about running the Arran and the wall and all of that lot. Thank you to all us listeners. Thanks for joining in again. This will probably film a couple of weeks before you're doing it, and we're in lockdown, so hopefully we might be out when you're seeing this. If you want to come on the podcast, give me a call. It's a chat like it is. No, Kate was a bit scared of coming on, but she knows it's not frightening, and I'm not frightening. So thank you, Kate. All the best.
Dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever